Welcome to the Floss. This is part 2 of Connor Balderson's episode. On part 1, we talked about manifestation. During halftime, we made fun of Virgil Abloh and the Native Americans. And sexual harassment. Am I missing anything?
I think we covered it.
Yeah. It was just
great halftime.
And probably, the Ukraine. It's actually weird because for the majority of the war, the episodes are not going to mention Ukraine, and then when the war is over, all the episodes are going to have Ukraine in them.
You'd be like, ugh.
Yeah.
I've heard this song before.
All right, Connor. It's part 2.
Part 2.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and you've been kind of freaking out about this one.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What is something you do that you don't think anybody should do?
So we kind of alluded to it a little bit already. But, I mean, the social media, addiction, it's definitely real. I kind of teased it a little bit, but, you get the notification. I mean, I'm looking at, 4+ hours I saw the other day. I'm like, that's, nobody should be doing that. Straight up. It's
an addiction.
That is an addiction. That's a problem. And I mean, we all kind of do it. No, none of us should be doing it. But I feel like I'm extra bad. And it's always been kind of, I always remember kind of having that inkling to be scrolling social or I mean, I actually remember even you'd be at school and then you would go home on AIM. I remember that. That's probably the first, if I had to take it back, it's a social media addiction was definitely AIM, where it was you would see all your friends, then you would go home and just talk to all your friends immediately, 10 minutes later, And I remember that. It was right to the computer.
It's constant connection. And it's interesting you bring it back to AIM because it's not quite social media, but it's definitely in the same vein because of the connection and everything. But I feel like when it starts, it's so that you can be connected.
Yeah.
And the I don't know if it's endorphins or dopamine, but when you hear that ping, or it's when you're a teenager and you're flirting with a girl over text, the only thing on your mind is when is that text coming, or when that text comes, it's let's fucking go. I don't even care what the text says. I just want to hear the sound.
Right.
And then social media comes along. And now, I mean, I'm in the same vein as you. I do everything I can to stay off. Honestly, not half the reason, but a big pro of me taking this job that's in person is because now that I'm in an office and not working at home, I'm off my phone quite a bit. But now it's not, I don't even care about I don't post a lot. I don't post a bunch where I'm constantly getting notifications. I'm just on there to be on there and scroll.
It's sitting on the couch, or waiting for the elevator. These moments where you don't even, it's kind of
you don't even have
it.
Yeah, you don't even have to be on there though.
Right. What are you doing? What do you get? 3 good Instagram photos in that 10 seconds that you were waiting.
Oh, you saw 2 sports highlights and an advertisement.
Right. And it's kind of, I don't know. I just need to be more, I feel like it's a terrible flaw, honestly. And Grace will be on me all the time, no, and we just really got to do it then, So I want to be more mindful, I think, kind of even just chatting about it now. It's putting it out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, as soon as this episode ends, we're both going to hop on our phones.
Yeah. I call my phone vibrating. And but I don't know. I feel like it's, but then I do that, and then I'm scrolling Twitter on my laptop.
I do that once. Once I was going on Instagram on my desktop, I knew it was a problem.
Yeah, desktop Instagram is deep in it. Yeah. That's because it's not even good UX.
No, it's terrible. And that was when I had deleted Twitter and Instagram off my phone. Thinking it was going to help. I just went straight to my desktop.
You're deleted the app. Who needs the app? Yeah. I can still get my fix.
And my girlfriend deleted her Instagram. Full stop.
That.
And when she did it, they were they didn't even ask. They tell you, we're gonna keep this on the shelf for 90 days right. In case you want to come back.
Zuck's probably got so many emails over a course of a time when people
I didn't mean to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, baby. Come back.
Yeah,
I didn't mean that.
I didn't want to delete it, and then it was gone. So they were like, all right, cloud it.
And like everybody else, I have thought about deleting my Twitter, and nothing in my life would change.
That's a hard one. Twitter's I don't know. Both of my dabbles, right? Like, started dabbling a little TikTok too. So it's like, oh, that's only fueling that even more. But
I was able to easily delete TikTok.
I had it deleted, and then I started getting a lot more funny videos sent. I guess I'll get back on there.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. And then it's like, then just repeat. And you get some email in there, maybe a little bit. Like, but I don't know. I feel like we don't have resources as like, we had Dare or whatever, right? It's like, I feel like kids now, like, it's kind of like obvious. Like, if you're gonna smoke weed, you're gonna smoke weed. But like, I feel like learning about something like that doesn't require maybe like a program as
that's a great point.
But like a social media dare could be really kind of effective.
Cyberbullying is like, that's insane. But like kids that are in school, like they're essentially required. I mean, we're seeing this with the metaverse, but like you have two lives. If you're a kid now, you have two lives, and they're both equally. As far as other people's perception of you, they're both equally important, and that's the metaverse is just going to accelerate that tenfold. It's terrifying. Kids are going to go to school in like the only people that are going to truly know kids are their family. If their parents aren't caught up in their own fucking thing.
Right. How many times now too that there's already disconnection because like a phone was given early or something, and or an iPad or something.
Oh, dude, pretty soon it's going to be So like the classic was the whole family on the couch watching primetime NBC or whatever.
Yep.
Now it's going to be the whole family on the couch with their goggles on. They're all watching something completely different.
Yeah. Or they somewhere else or on vacation in the living room.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like, and telling the kids like, oh.
It's terrifying.
They're in the living room. I don't know. I'm very much. And then the argument of like, oh, that's we did this. This was the internet when the internet started. This is the same thing. And it's like, yo, this is a little different. Like these are like we're talking about something that's like, and like think about how long it took to get mass population even on internet. So like, I mean, now you have like third world countries. People have iPhones and stuff and internet, but it's like, okay, and like what 200 are these people going to have an Oculus on? It's just like I just don't see it. Like I don't know. I feel like at the core of it, humans are human, right? And it's like, I don't know, to be able to dabble in these third world, like outer body kind of experiences, I just don't feel like would have that same. If it was going to hit, it would hit already. I feel like, it's big, and people are doing it, and it's interesting when you hear like these brands or so and so bought land in the meta, and you're just kind of like,
no, dude, that's real.
It's so real, but you're just kind of like, wow, like that's. I don't know, because then it's like, well, do you want all this land gonna get taken up maybe in like the meta or something? These brands are like trying to just get involved with it because Gucci did it, so or
dude,
whoever.
You been to a shopping mall recently?
No,
they're dead.
Oh,
where are
true,
all the
right.
Where are all the dude? I went to there was a Regal in a shopping. Where are all the middle schoolers? Where are the high schoolers hanging out by the fountain, just like fucking around?
Right. That's a good point. Maybe the human part is kind of out of it already.
They get home. And they hop on their computer. That's what we did.
Yeah.
But pretty soon they're gonna get home. They're gonna go to the mall. But they're gonna go to the mall in the metaverse. You know that there's a singing reality contest where you don't actually see the person singing. You see their no, not the masked singer. It's a whole nother level.
Okay.
It's an avatar.
Oh, I've seen. It's like the rebooted.
It's their
masked singer.
It's like their avatar.
Right.
So like right now we have Dua Lipa and Ariana Grande and stuff like that.
Right.
We know who they are, and they're the biggest pop stars in the world. Pretty soon we're gonna have pop stars. We don't even know who they actually are.
There's a guy from Cleveland. I forget his name right now, but he like it's happening. Like he's like really.
Oh, I'm
big.
sure it's already happening in Japan too.
Yeah.
Japan is always way ahead in that terms. In Japan and China.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's
their smartphone culture has been decades ahead of us. Their social media stuff.
Yeah, so then you're catching the concert in the meta for this.
Have you seen Belle?
No.
Do you like Japanese shit?
Yeah.
Have you seen Belle? It's really good. It's about what I just said. A pop star, nobody knows who she is.
Okay.
And it's just insane. Like it's just like it's a great movie. I don't know how to describe it.
Right.
Have you seen Black Mirror?
I hate Black Mirror.
Did you see the Miley Cyrus episode?
No.
It's like exactly what you're talking
Oh
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Put in a toy. Highly recommend.
I believe you. I'm not going to watch it though. I don't like Black Mirror.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree though. It's I don't know, sort of like that's kind of the, it's interesting because how do you say no one should do that though?
Oh, I know.
Like, it's like surface level. It's like, yeah, no one should no one should be on their phone 4 hours. But it's like, okay, well, how are you gonna like survive?
So,
literally?
like, to bring it back to bring it to capitalism and the United States capitalistic culture. If you want to be an enterprising individual, you have to have social media.
Yeah,
You have
it's your
to.
company's website.
Not even if you don't own your own business. If you want LinkedIn, if you want a good job, that's social media.
Yeah,
It's networking. I'm very heavy on Instagram because of the comedy, because I want to make money doing comedy. Almost nothing about my personal life. After college, almost nothing about my personal life is on there. You go to my Instagram, you don't know what I do on a daily basis.
Instagram's kind of became professional.
It
in
is.
a way. It's
It's
almost
a
like
marketing
the
platform.
side hustle LinkedIn. Like it's, because like now that you mentioned, I couldn't tell you the last time you really saw like
College.
some buddies hanging out or like like stories and stuff. Or
College,
whatever,
when you
but-
don't have disposable income,
Yeah.
and you're around hundreds of your friends all the time, constantly at parties taking pictures.
Yeah.
After college, you get sold stuff, whether it's material or it's sports highlights or it's workout videos that are using gear and clothing and stuff
Right.
like that. Everything is there to sell you something.
Yeah, it's hard because then you're like, how do you filter that out too? How do you? Because you're
But you don't. You go to Instagram for the content, well, even like the infographics or the motivational stuff or the memes.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff too because it keeps you kind of coming back.
You're
in a
there
way.
for the content. You're not there for the
right.
people.
That's such a balance too because like on Reels they have done a lot of these like, you drop like an inspirational track and it's like Kobe Bryant talking or something, and like these old clips are kind of coming back as like modern day little tidbits, and like that's cool. Like you know what I mean. So if like you are using it to absorb positive things or like good things, obviously memes and all that are in there too. But like that's where it's like, oh, like, well, what I'm absorbing isn't always like negative, So it's like, does that make it a negative thing because there's so much of it? But if the substance of the content isn't negative, in theory, does it feel like it's wrong if you're watching Kobe Bryant be like positive and motivational?
I do like Instagram mainly because it gives me the content I want. It gives me like themed content.
Right.
Very different from Twitter and Facebook.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Twitter. I don't know.
Facebook is other people.
Yeah.
Facebook is people that aren't trying to sell you something. They just want to say stuff.
Right. And it's the people that are like we were saying in part one.
It causes
It's
it
that
causes a
literally the-
completely different response in my brain.
Yep. Twitter's cool too because it's like that's the news source for me. But what I like about Twitter is just the humor and just the irony that's constantly in Twitter. And I love a good tweet, right? Like who doesn't love a good tweet that's just like
Me, I'm over it. I'm almost completely over it.
I just like so that's what's fun with me because then like me and my buddies have we send each other.
That's
the
why I
DMs
don't
back
delete
and
Twitter
forth,
because we have the group chats.
And like that's our group chat, not on text. It's on Twitter. Like all our
content.
buddies, and that part's fun. But like we definitely don't share as much as we used to in the GM because we all have other things going on. But it's nice when something does come through and it's like
Yeah.
like that's good. But
Oh fuck. Oh, you know what? I've been when I get to work every morning, I go onto like a news desktop website and I read full articles.
Fox News,
Yeah.
nice dude.
No, I honestly, no. I Google today's news. I Google today's news, and like I skip CNN and I skip Fox.
Yeah.
I usually go to like NBC or like The Guardian or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I don't learn nearly as much about what's going on because it takes a much longer time.
Yeah. Well, The Guardian's a good one because that's like
it's almost as close to just objective as you can get. And there I get to just read the news and not read what other people think about the news.
Right.
Because what other people think is usually stupid.
Yeah. I think it's so important. I was a journalism major, so I've not that I ever want to be a journalist, right? But I saw a tweet the other day, to take it back full circle here, that there used to be 500, I think it was 500, maybe it's 300. We'll say 300 reporters in Cleveland, right, that wrote for the main media outlets. Now there's under 50.
Really?
And those aren't even, they're little tidbits. And these are the people that, need to hold our government, accountable and ask the right questions and make sure, there's no corruption and
really?
And that I was like, wow. The fact that there was, let's say it was 300, maybe it was 500, but 300 people covering a city like Cleveland, which was probably smaller at, whenever.
No, Cleveland's Cleveland's been losing people every year
too.
for like
That's
3
true.
decades. Yeah.
That's true. So the scale's definitely changed, but that I thought was staggering, and it's kind of
It is. It's weird because the social media make the world smaller or bigger, smaller because we're all connected, but bigger because you're connected with people that you would never be. We're 500 journalists versus 50.
Mm-hmm.
How could you possibly say that city has something going on? Why is that? Is that because companies are doing all their own press now?
I mean, it's social media, 100%. Advertisers fueled the newspapers, and then when subscriber rates went down, then advertisers stopped spending money, and then it just and then there was nothing.
I try to tell Clyde this every day. I was like, dude, you guys are all just all of this stuff exists for advertisements.
100%. It's so screwed. It really is. But I think if you find the moments where it's positive, and really kind of making it you need news, you need social, you need all of those things. And if you can dabble a little bit to get, if your couple hours of screen time is to get something of value, there are news outlets that, you get the real coverage, a good opinion, right? Yeah. And then you can make your own, opinion, objective opinion on it, and then either, agree or move on or whatever.
Dude, a good opinion is hard to come by. The only movie reviews I read are Roger Ebert, and he's dead, so they stopped a few years ago. But he's just an excellent writer, and I usually agree with him, which helps. But you said try to make it a positive experience. You can control for that. If you think back, if you had a good day, what'd you do today?
Mm-hmm.
Would I saw a good tweet ever make the list of what made it a good day?
Probably not.
You don't even remember what the tweet is.
Yeah, right. In that millisecond moment.
I got a couple pages of my book in.
Right.
I had coffee with a friend.
Right? There's way bigger things to it than just that little gratification from somebody you don't even know, probably. I think, too, there's a lot of, people, imposters, if people aren't checking their, not fact checking, basically. So, you see all the people that are, doing fake burner tweets and everything, which is, hilarious. But then you see the people that, believe it.
Well, not even the fake burner tweets, but, because that's always funny when people believe it. But, you cannot believe anything.
Yeah.
If it's a tweet, it's not news.
Right.
Like when actual news source, you see all of these reports about the Ukraine. You see so many things going on Twitter, and then only one of those things makes it into any of the news websites. Okay, because that wasn't news. Nobody can verify that.
Yeah,
there's no source.
It's the verification check, and that's kind of all we have to. Yeah. That's the new publisher byline, is the check mark on Twitter. You're oh, it's got to be real, got to be legit.
Even that's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
because if you go into the replies of a blue check tweet, it's people, they just throwing stuff out there.
Yep.
I can't think of any example off the top of my head. I could find one in probably 2 minutes if I wanted to, but it's just the stuff that it's okay, the chick that the main chick from West Side Story didn't get invited to the Oscars. For whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very next tweet said something like it was because this, and Ansel Elgort did get invited because this. And then the very next tweet was, no, Ansel Elgort didn't get invited. And then the next tweet was, how do you know? And then that was the end of the conversation.
People have the time.
What the fuck is going on?
Right.
What are we doing with ourselves? Who cares?
Right. It's like you don't even know these people. They don't even care. But we have to have that just a little banter.
What do you find? We need, because this is supposed to be an advice podcast. People shouldn't do this. What do you find yourself doing when you? How many times a day are you like, holy fuck, I need to get off this phone?
I'd say aware a couple times a day.
Dude, are you ever working and your phone's like on your desk over here, and you pick it up and you immediately start getting stressed out, and then when you put it down, you're like,
it's like, why did I even bother?
It's like The Ring in Lord of the Rings. It really is.
Yeah. I like the flipped over technique. That helps a little bit. Or in the drawer, kind of give it away a little bit. But I didn't have a laptop today, and that was
why?
No Wi-Fi. My laptop didn't have Wi-Fi today.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just didn't happen. And
also, do you have Spotify on your work computer?
I do.
Okay, Austin. I asked Austin if I could download it. He never got back to me. I'm just gonna.
I just did it. Yeah, approve.
Yeah.
But I felt myself today it happening with email. Like I'm missing. I mean, this is your job, so like you're expected to reply to people. But I felt that like I got logged out of my phone too. I'm like, what?
Oh, my Wi-Fi
totally
never works on my phone at that place.
So it was. I felt that disconnect, you know. But that's something that you have to check and have to stay up on. Paid. But same thing though. You're like just that. It's almost like the need for like just the notification, like, and it's bad biz.
It's like a cigarette.
Yeah,
it's like a cigarette break that doesn't make you feel better,
right?
Because cigarettes are awesome.
Like that's a break. A phone break is like a phone like walking into chaos.
Like even thinking about it stresses me out.
I know. It's a lot of phone stuff, dude.
I thought about going to therapy specifically for the phone addiction.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that might uncover some other stuff, but like in general, I keep myself busy enough.
Right.
Which is like, that's the classic American dude. Like, I got therapy. It's called a hard day's work, that kind of thing. But it's like, I mean, I just keep myself busy enough and I take care of myself. So if I did go to therapy, it would be for the phone addiction. It's bad.
That's very interesting. Like I wouldn't even have kind of thought.
Because it is an addiction. It's an addiction.
Right.
And I mean, there's therapy for that.
At least you're doing things, putting it in the basket, going on walks, and
I don't touch it for the first hour I'm awake.
That's
first
really
like 40 minutes.
Just eating me alive over here. I'm like, I'd touch it immediately.
Man, turn it off.
Need to. It's bedside, so that's why.
Turn it off before you go to bed. I bought a $15 alarm clock on Amazon. It goes meh, 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 and I sit it across my bedroom, so I have to get out of bed.
Gotta get up. That's old school, bro.
It's better. It works.
I feel like, too, sometimes, this is kind of a crazy thought, but sometimes my phone's so close to me in bed that I don't even set an alarm.
Because you know you're going to wake up and just want to touch it.
Partially because I don't want to, like, have to look at the phone one more time. You know, like, because then you know it's going to open up a whole. Oh, let me just jump over here real quick. Like, so I've done that a couple times, and that's like, wow, you're running a risk there. But that body alarm usually goes off. But then you're like, dang, I didn't even have it. Like, that was, whew, no alarm. Like, but because it is kind of like Rustin that does our photos for the show. He sent over a bunch of photos last night. And my phone, ding, ding, ding. It was like dinging. And I was like, I don't even want to look at them like right now. But like I did.
Yeah, but it's
like I really wanted to look at those photos. And Grace is like, we're not gonna look at the photos. I was like, I'm just like, no, like, yeah. And that. So I mean, we're getting there, maybe, right? Like baby steps, but because I knew it would have been a whole thing. We had it posted that night, and we would have had to like.
Oh, you would have had to.
Like,
yeah. I also went to bed like 30 minutes before that happened, and I was like, who the hell is
hitting
you up right
almost into REM, and then the ding started happening, but yeah, we were good. I muted it, carried on. So it's happening, but I just need to, like, I don't know, do it a little more frequently. I like the non-bed idea with the old school alarm. We got the old school alarm. Maybe just use it. Yeah, I'd use the radio feature though.
No, it's too easy to stay asleep. Too easy to stay asleep.
Put on some like crazy station though.
Like what?
I don't know.
Gospel music?
Like AM something. I don't know.
1100 WTAM.
Brown's Talk Radio waking you up.
Oh,
like,
yeah, dude.
No, that's like you jam and go right back to
Oh,
bed.
dude, actually, I've been meaning to listen to The Fan recently.
Huh. I don't.
Because of Watson.
It's the whole banter.
I want to hear what the Fox has to say about Deshaun Watson.
The phone calls are always classic.
I called in once.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you talk?
Yeah, they got me on.
Nice.
It was about they were talking about college athletes getting paid. And I called and I was like, "You guys, there's a kid. He was a YouTuber in high school, and he got a football scholarship. And the NCAA told him, they said you could either play football or keep doing YouTube because he was getting paid for YouTube.
Right.
And he said, I'm going to keep doing YouTube.
Yeah.
That sucks that he had to pick.
That's not, and I wonder. So that. Well, I wonder with how like you can do.
Yeah, it would be fine now. Yeah, it wouldn't be a problem now. But this is before that change happened.
It's still kind of different, though. You know, I mean, it's not like they're a brand partnership or something. It's like it's his own thing he's doing.
Right, and he still wasn't allowed to do that.
That's crazy. I mean, yeah, being able to have to pick and choose and like,
sucks.
I don't know. That's not.
I think they got the right idea now. If you're good enough to make money on your own, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I'm iffy on they should pay them like athletes because then do you pay the football players more than the golf team or do you what about the archery team? They don't make any TV money.
So how do you divide that out?
The only reason a lot of sports programs exist is because the football team's TV revenue pays for all those sports and all those scholarships.
And their arena is like a billion times bigger than the whatever team. Like,
so do you pay teams more than another? I don't believe in that. That's not fair because everybody's a student athlete. That is everybody's title. Mm-hmm. It's not senior student athlete. It's not vice president student athlete and associate student athlete. They all have the same title of student athlete. So if you're going to pay one, you got to pay them all the same. But you can't do that because they're not all making the same amount of money. So then what do? Do you pay by sport?
I think where they landed is like it's your own likeness. It's your
what it
like I'm sorry, Gabe, but you don't have a good jump shot. You know what I mean? Yep. Like I have a good jump shot, and Gatorade wants me in a commercial. But we're both, you're the sixth man or whatever, and it's like but that's what I think was so cool too.
Maybe I could get a dealership commercial.
Yeah, some local, like nothing big, but I don't know. I thought I think they got that right. Like that one felt like I'd be interested to hear if college athletes feel that. I wasn't a college athlete, but
or my other thing is maybe it's not the NCAA's job to pay athletes. Maybe you keep student athletes unpaid, and the pro leagues that also make that also benefit greatly from these student athletes, they can make their own amateur leagues, and then kids can decide I'll go to college and play for an education, or I'll go play semi-pro, which is what some basketball players do. They go play G League, but there's just not as much talent or TV revenue.
Right,
that's because it's new.
It's a different path.
Dude, Europe, it's a little harder too. Europe is the club system.
Yeah, people have been doing that for forever. Like, but how many people a year go over there then come back and like be a star, or be like I'd have to like think about it. But
Luka Doncic, Chris Stapps, Porzingis, Sabonis
as like a American high schooler. To play pro ball like in Europe.
Oh, those kids get eaten alive because high school basketball values highlights.
Yeah.
European basketball values basketball.
Yeah, fundamentals.
So they get they get ruined.
Yep. That's interesting. Like especially I don't know. Everyone's got to have like a different. It'll be interesting to see where it goes too. Like with
I think we should have a club system for most major sports. Football's hard because there's 50 people on a team.
True.
And you can only play one game a week, but and like the colleges wouldn't lose viewers. People who are watching Kentucky Wildcat basketball are watching for the Kentucky Wildcats. Yeah, Zion helped. Zion pulled in extra viewers, or maybe he was on Duke. He was on Duke.
Yep.
Okay, people watching Duke are watching Duke. Zion pulled in extra viewers, but when Zion leaves, the people that watch Duke are still going to keep watching Duke.
Oh yeah,
They don't care about the players. They like this. They like the school.
It's that little moment in time. Like, you know, you all have, especially I think that's what's cool about college sports too, is that like, you know, you have these people, but they're not as like star level. But then you have this like deep rooted loyalty though with some of these programs, which is really kind of crazy and cool to see. But
Ron Baker, 4 years on Wichita State.
Hooper.
The greatest shocker of all time. Ron the Shot Baker.
Yeah, March Madness is fun. It's like, it's however much money has been spent on brackets.
It's the second
10% to maybe student athletes. Like,
that's insane. Yeah,
not a bad idea.
It's the second largest sporting event in the country after the Super Bowl.
And all just everything, the brand, you know, the whole
awesome.
nine. Like, but I don't know. I like brackets.
That's why everyone's like, why doesn't ESPN just put the March Madness bracket in the fantasy app? Because the fantasy app is a great app for scores.
Right.
I use it to check scores, not even my own fantasy score.
Yeah.
It's because March Madness it's its own brand. It has its own app.
Yeah.
It's its own brand.
It's definitely its own thing. And
It's not even
NCAA owned.
It's not even the March Madness app. It's the Tournament Challenge.
Oh, yeah. Keeps people into it. I don't know. I'm third right now, my bracket, so
I'm done.
Feeling good about
Wisconsin lost. They're out.
Good for conversation.
And that is the Floss.
Thanks, Gabe, for having me on the show. You can check me out on Instagram at Follow the Crowd Comedy for the shows and all things comedy. You can check me out on my personal Instagram at WhatUpCB, Twitter at Connor Balderson. No website to plug, so IG will do.